What's up, book spades? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys all the books that I read in the month of October, and I'm pretty excited because I read quite a few books this month, and I also was very consistent this month, and it shows in the numbers, and I'm super excited. So before we get in here, I want to thank all my new subscribers. I want to thank all my subscribers in general because I am super grateful, and I just it makes me happy to know that you guys are enjoying the content and enjoying the revlogs, and you know, so I love you guys. And yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into this video.
No more can be traded. My heart's anticipated. I'm not too prideful to up and leave. You've been all complacent. The tides have been changing. Love is just patience, and for you.
Now, I don't remember which order I read these books in, but if you watch the videos this month, you'll kind of get the gist. But I'm gonna go ahead and just share with you guys what I read. So the first book that I'm going to be sharing with you guys is The Serpent of Dove. I got this book of 4 stars. It's basically about this witch and witch hunter who was forced into marriage because the witch hunter kind of framed the witch framed the witch hunter for abusing her, and it's thoroughly frowned upon. And they're like a Christian community, and they believe that all witches should be killed because they're abomination. So it basically, I don't know how to explain it, but I enjoyed the book. I gave it 4 stars. It's about this witch named Lou and this this witch hunter named Reed, and a lot of stuff transpired in this book that you wouldn't think. I wasn't expecting half of the things that happened. She was part of this top witch coven, and her mom believed that if she was to be killed, that it killed off the lines of the king for some reason. So she escaped her family and started living on the street and stealing and, you know, doing all that type of stuff. But yeah, I got this book a 4 star. I really enjoyed it. That is The Serpent and the Dove. The next book was The Gilded Cage. Now, I know you guys seen this book in like 4 or 5 video. I'm exaggerating when I say 4 or 5, but like 2 or 3. Because I started reading this book in my mood reading vlog, but I wasn't in the mood to read it, so I picked up another book to read. Then I put this book off and started reading it in my fantasy for a week. I finally finished it and reading fantasy for a week, and I gave it a 4.5 stars. The ending of these books go crazy. Like the ending of The Prison Healer, the ending of The Gilded Cage, they go so crazy that it makes you want to dive into the next book, even though you know that it's going to kind of begin off slow. Now, this book started right where it left off in The Prison Healer. I just amazing book. I just absolutely obsessed with this book. I gave it a 4.75. I think 4.75. Really enjoyed it. Cannot wait to read The Blood Trader. So that's that. The next book is The Coworker by Freedom Fate, and I think that's one of her new releases. That came out in like August or something. I'm not quite sure, but I read this. It's about Dawn and Natalie. Dawn was kind of portrayed as kind of strange. She's one of the people that love ducks. Was it ducks or it was turtles? It wasn't ducks. It was turtles. She had this crazy obsession with turtles, and she worked in this firm where they basically sold, I guess you would say, like beauty pills and stuff like that to their client. Like, they're the people that you call and be like, hey, can I get a subscription to this pill or this? Like, it was one of those type of company. If you know, you know. They worked there, and it kind of came off as from Natalie's point of view, she was like the nicest person to Dawn. But from Dawn's point of view, you got how Natalie was being like so mean to her, so evil and spiteful, and how that all she was trying to do was be nice to Natalie, and Natalie just kept doing mean stuff. And it don't show that from Natalie's point of view. So you start to wonder, like, is Dunn crazy? Like, is there something wrong with Dunn? And when I tell you guys, the whiplash that I got on it's close to the end of this, well, I think it was part two. I think it's part one and part two. I think it was part two. The whiplash I got from this book at the end, oh my god. Like, it was just like everything started coming out and it just started wrapping up. And I was so shocked by all this stuff that was going on in this book. I gave it a 3-star. It was a good book, but the beginning of it had me kind of just like, I kind of wasn't in at the beginning of the book, but the second part of it, 3-star. Then, out of all the times of me saying I want to read this book, I've been complaining about this book. I've been like, I want to read the book, I want to read the book, I want to read the book. And I put it on multiple TBRs and never got around to it until this month. I finally read The No Show by Beth O'Leary. I think I give this book a 3.5. It just, at first, now listen, and it's not even, the crazy thing is, I'm like, listen, when you see the video, I swear, y'all, I was sitting there like, I don't even know. I'm just vibing. Like, I'm just vibing. I don't know. I'm just vibing. Did I say I gave it a 3.5? I gave it a 3.5. I was just kind of just vibing and going along with the book, but it just was giving toxic throughout. Like, it was played out as if he was cheating on all three of these women. Like, he's cheating on all three of these women. Like, he set a date to visit all three of them. And then, you know, the crazy thing is, they never said why he stood them up on Valentine. Oh, well, maybe. Okay, well, maybe that what it was. But no, because he stood her up too. Huh. But anyways, it was a lot. It was a long roller coaster of toxic behaviors. And that's all I'm going to say. 3.5. A lot of people said the ending made them cry. It wasn't that deep to make me cry. So, well, I mean, it wasn't. I said what I said. It wasn't that deep to make me cry. The next book was All the Missing Girls. I gave it a 3 stars as well. I don't remember what this book is about. Is this about the girl who... Yeah. Okay. So this is about Nicolette. And she left her hometown after her best friend went missing in high school. After they graduated, her best friend went missing. And she left her hometown. And it seems as if she just left from grief. That was not the case. That was not the case. That was not the case at all. And then when she ended up having to come back because her dad was getting very sick and they needed to sell his house because they needed it for the money so that, you know, they can take care of him and keep him in the home that he was in or whatever. So every time they brushed the issue, her dad was, I think her dad had, what is it where you don't recognize people? Is it Alzheimer's? I think it was Alzheimer's. But he had one of those, it gotta be Alzheimer's. I'm gonna say Alzheimer's. If I'm mistaken, I do apologize. But he had Alzheimer's, and every time she come in the room, like either he know her or he don't know her, or he kind of. But anyways, they were brushing issues to him about signing the papers. So he was like, "I'm not signing the papers. We can't sell the house. The house cannot be sold. The walls in the house hold secrets." Basically telling her to remove if you're going to sell the house, remove the secrets. And she don't know, she's not knowing what he's talking about. And she's confused and everyone's confused. And they keep trying to get him to sign the papers to sell the house. And then another girl comes up missing. And, you know, another girl comes up missing. And that's when everything unfolds. And they kind of find out what happened. Now, this book is told from day one. Then it jumped from day one to like her coming into town visiting her daddy, talking to her daddy about the letter that he sent her, and then it jumped back to the ending where it's just like this will happen at the end, but then it comes back to tell how the girl ended up going missing and what happened. So it goes from day 1, then it goes to day 15, and then it counts down until the first day she got in town until what actually happened to the missing girl. 3 stars. The next book that I read was Daisy Hates. I'm obsessed with this book. I love this. I enjoyed this book so much more than I enjoyed Magnolia Parks. And don't fight me. But I just love Daisy Hates so much more because one, BJ and Magnolia was so toxic that it gave me a headache because, and like I think I recorded a video. I made a video on talking about DJ and Magnolia and telling you guys how I felt like I thought they was in like, they was in high school or something. Come to find out they're adults. They're grown-ups. They should have got the skills to communicate with each other by now. They should know right from wrong by now type, they were adults behaving the way they was behaving, and I was so freaking confused, and I just couldn't get with how toxic that we've been with each other. That it just rubbed me the wrong way. I did not enjoy that. I gave this book a 4.75. I love Daisy, although she was dealing with a lot of trauma from the lifestyle they live in. They're kind of like a mafia gang member, if you would say, like a gang family, and she had to deal with a lot of trauma growing up. So some of the stuff with her, I kind of understood because when you're dealing with such trauma like the trauma she was dealing with, it's hard to take people at their word, especially in a lifestyle that her family is in. It's hard to take people at their word. So I understand her, but BJ and Magnolia, toxic all the way around from the top to the bottom, from the friends, all of them. Just not it. They're not it. And you do get a glimpse of each of the characters from Magnolia Parks in this book, and I enjoy listening to them and seeing them on the back end. But I really enjoyed Daisy. Baby Hates. I enjoyed Baby Hates so much. 4.75. I cannot wait to read her next book in this. I think Daisy Hate, The Great Undoing. I do have the new cover. I think the new cover to that one come out on November the 7th. So we will be getting that and reading that. I'm super excited about that. So yeah. The next book I read was The Dead Romantic. Now this has been on my list since it came out to read. And I finally got to it this month because, well, it's October. Ghosts, it makes sense. So I finally read this. I decided to read this before I read The 7-Year Slip by her, and I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 stars. It's a really good book. It's basically about this girl named Florence who is a literal ghost writer, but she don't know that she's writing for a ghost. So, but her and her dad was like the only 2 people that could see ghosts. They owned a funeral home called the Days Inn Funeral Home. I think it's called Days Inn. That's a nice place, your Days Inn. But anywho, they owned the Days Inn Funeral Home, and her father was the only ones to be able to see ghosts. Now her father passed away, and Florence had to go back to her hometown to help with her father's funeral arrangements. Where she get a knock on the door, she opened the door, and it happens to be her publisher, her new publisher, and she's like, why is he here? Like, is no way he can be a ghost. It's no way he can be dead. I just seen him before I came here, like less than 3-4 hours ago. I just seen him, so how in the heck is he dead already? So he kind of meet her at her house, and they trying to figure out how to get him onto the afterlife. A lot goes on there, and it's basically like he's helping her and she's helping him. But yeah, I enjoyed this book. 4 stars. I see what the hype behind it is. And then of course I read this before I read the second book in the series, but The Prison Healers, I gave it a 4 star. This book starts off so slow. It is so repetitive in the beginning, but for you to get to know the characters, you to get to know Kiva, you to get to know Jaren, you get to know Tip, you get to know Nari, I think that's her name. You get to know all of them in this book. That's the introduction book where you get to know them, get to know their backstory, and get to know what's going on and how Kiva end up in there, and then you know how Jerry end up in there and things like that. It's a great book. I'm really glad that I read this and got to the ending, because the ending went crazy. Like I said, the ending of these books goes so crazy. So yeah, 4 stars for this. I really enjoyed it. Now, this one I decided to read dark romance for a week, and I read Hunting Adeline. I read this one. Now, I went from being scared to read this at night to just reading it during the daytime to getting jealous because I didn't have a stalker, like, and then realizing I need therapy because who asked for a stalker? Besides me, apparently. But this book was so good. Like, it was not. Listen. Check the trigger warnings. And check the trigger warnings. It was an entertaining book. That's all I'm gonna say. It was an entertaining book. It's very spicy, but entertaining nonetheless. And in some parts of the book, it kind of made me cringe because I'm not even gonna lie, because like some parts of the book had me cringing because of the things that he was doing to her, and I was just like, sexual assault, and we're gonna leave it there. Sexual assault, and I was just like, I don't think I like that, and it was making me cringe because I was like, why am I reading this? But he grew on me, and apparently he grew on her. Apparently she started liking him too. So I gave this book a 4 star. I enjoyed it. I may need therapy, but I enjoyed it. So there's that on that. The next book I read was The Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This book is about the Griffins and the Gallows. The Griffin, they're like a battling gang family in Chicago, and what is this girl's name? Ada ended up accidentally setting the Griffin's house aflame, and in order to rectify the situation without them having to kill different peoples on, each family, the fathers came together and was like, we've lost enough people, we've lost enough family members to, let's just make this work. Let's figure out a compromise to where we both can just be on the same page, be on the same terms, and ain't nobody gotta die. And they forced Ada and the older Griffin, what was his name? Callum, to get married. Enemies to lovers. I enjoyed this book. Especially, I enjoyed the pretty little pictures. I enjoyed the pretty little pictures. I'm not even gonna hold you. The pictures. This is when they was having a meeting with the dad. That is Ada and her 2 brothers. So that's not even the one I enjoyed the most. Let me show y'all the one I enjoyed the most. Well, there I am. Enjoyed. Not even that's not it either. Let me see. The back seat. Yeah. Great book. I don't even know I told you. 3.5 for the rating on that book. The next book, I'm about to choke. The next book I ended up reading was is that it? Yeah, that is. None of This Is True by Lisa Jules. 4.25. I enjoyed this book. It's basically about this lady who's a podcaster, and she run into this other lady. What's her name? First of all, I don't remember these people's names. Hold on. Alex Summer is the podcaster, and Josie. Okay, Josie. So, Alice Summers is a podcaster, and her birthday and Josie's birthday was on the same day, and they kind of go to this pub where Josie kind of get this unnatural obsession with Alice, and she's always finding ways to bump into Alice until then one day she bump into her and basically suggests that they do a podcast based on the Alex do a podcast based on Josie's life. Some crazy stuff unfold, stuff you wouldn't even think, and at the end it's just like, well, dang. But it was a great book. I gave it a 4.25. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't read this book, read this book. Now, it didn't give me House Across the Lake 5-star vibes, but it was a good book nonetheless. So, those are all the books I read in the month of October. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all in my next video. Peace.
I'm calling bullshit. Say you got it, but you ain't got nothing. Bad bitches don't say shit, they just hug.